And we're back.
You must forgive me, Björn, but my mind is made up.
She still doesn't look that old.
I must accept it.
She's got some like little wrinkles on her like eyelids, and that's like it.
Yeah, she looks good for her age. I want to know her skincare routine.
Skál.
Skál. Wait, can you go back really quickly? Is that a modern crutch?
It looks it. Would you be surprised with the show?
Kinda. I give him a little bit of credit.
That was your first error.
Yeah, it looks like a modern crutch. Moving on.
Anyways. Hello. He was just waiting for that. Like, his one job was to wait for him to open that door.
And he did a very good job of it.
He did a great job. He was there when we needed him.
But family isn't everything.
What is her dress?
In the end, we are born alone and we die alone.
What is this with her?
Yet we need our family.
Why does it have pleats?
We need our loved ones.
It's a new design.
I need you, Björn.
Looks like he's just
Thank
wearing
you.
Descended from Odin
I
shirts.
love you. I have told you so and I am honest. More honest than you, I think.
And tomorrow?
If it wasn't for the pleats and the neckline, I'd say it's almost a good underdress.
That's true.
But then they had to ruin it by just throwing in unnecessary pleats and
Yeah,
neckline.
but who knows?
It's also like a weird length.
Yeah. Like same with his. Like it's like a t-shirt. Or like a long sleeve shirt, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like modern cut.
I think I am very easy.
Like he's a king, he'd be wearing more extravagant.
All of them, sons of the famous Ragnar Lothbrok. How can I believe that he's a king?
So before, when he first met Ivar, he said, "Oh yeah, Ivar the Boneless. I've heard of you. You're famous on the Silk Road." How else would he be famous?
And now
Like
he doesn't believe it.
Oh yeah, he's famous, but we don't know about him. Like if he's famous, you'd know why he's famous. So you'd know he's a king.
I'm confused. Does he not believe that he's Ivar, or does he not believe that he's...
Yes, a true God, revealed to the world as Kattegat. We're Christians now, but we still have some strong memories of the old gods.
What time frame is it?
Through perhaps some fear of them.
That's very hard to tell.
What year is this supposed to be?
I'm not
Why
sure.
was he traveling through my kingdom?
So-
These guys?
The one thing about this show is that all of these characters, Ragnar, Ivar, Björn, these are all characters taken from different time frames. They didn't exist at the same time.
Yep.
So it's very difficult to tell what time frame we're in, essentially. Not being able to tell exactly what time frame this show is in kind of works in their favor here.
Yeah.
Because they can say that and have it be correct.
It doesn't work
technically.
in my favor though, because I can't figure it out. Like this important to know that going into it, so you can timestamp the stuff going on, you know, and like reference the historical accuracy of it. But if they're just gonna jump around between timelines between like 200-300 years, then what the f am I supposed to do? But just sit and be angry. I hate his little stash.
What is that wall? Is that metal? Or is that clay? What is that?
So that's a sleigh.
That is a sleigh.
You should have just done that. So like torturing him in the basement wasn't enough. Now they gotta like bring him out in the daylight and torture him there in front of people. They have like this whole specific area they're going to.
They went outside of the city.
We have had some.
No, it's such a nice day out. We should torture this guy out. We should work outside.
Not helpful.
I don't understand. What has he done wrong?
For once, I can agree with the
Your
character.
friends refused to tell us.
So one, that doesn't make sense. Second, they would never, or at least we don't have any accounts of them doing something like
Of
this.
them having like torture implements? No, we don't.
Cool. All right, moving on.
So this is where she reminisces about season 1 as much as I do. Yeah, back when it was still inaccurate, but like they pretended to care.
More plausible.
Yeah. Back when like the plot made sense. And yeah, and this is
Really
me now.
wants-
Yep.
She really wants to go back to that time.
I've never connected more with a character in this show than I am right now.
All right, Trophy. This is where I should build my farm.
What do you think?
What was that?
Would you like to fly? I with the bonus. I don't understand. There is nothing to understand.
Yeah, there's yep.
Now speed will be free on the earth. Isn't that the dream of all?
It's like the writers themselves don't understand.
Surely for you who cannot walk, who can only crawl.
Is this a thing that's happening right now?
I'm just so confused. Is that a hot air balloon? So Vikings didn't have hot air balloons. They did not fly using hot air balloons. They did not fly using hot air balloons for fun.
That is the worst sentence I've ever heard in my life. I never thought I'd have to hear that spoken out loud.
I think that's all I have to say about that. It just was not a thing.
I'm gonna keep my glasses off for the rest of the show. Why is he afraid of this? This is like his thing, right?
Has
Or is
he
it-
done it before?
Is this like a brand new thing that he's doing for the first time now too?
It might be. He doesn't look like he's having too much fun now. Is the city built to allow for this runway? Is that what just happened?
Did they just put that many man hours into having them fly like 100 feet?
I guess so.
130 feet?
So I'm just gonna repeat this. Vikings did not have hot air balloons.
Vikings did not have hot air balloons.
I can feel the rage seething from you.
Anna, for your help. We heard that you would
become king of Kattegat. So
King of a
the
town.
question is, what kind of a king are you going to be?
How many kings are there?
So far I've heard of 4.
So like the point of the king, especially King Harald Hårfagre,
Right.
Harold Finehair, was king of all of Norway. But like, it may be something I missed, but is Harold king of a part of Norway, and then now Björn is now king of a one district in Norway, and there are other kings. So it's
But
just
he would be the Jarl then.
yeah,
wouldn't be a king.
it'd just be Jarl, and they used Jarl before, and they introduced the kingship concept later on,
Right.
as a larger thing. But now it just seems like they're just calling everybody a king, like king of a town. So he's a mayor. So Björn is a mayor. Mayor Björn. Okay,
Got it.
got it. Nailed it. We're good. I'm back in.
I will think on it.
Also, so
I like his boots. I don't actually like his boots.
the yellow dress that she's wearing right there is probably the closest example of a proper Viking dress that I've seen. It's still not 100% accurate, but it's the closest one I've seen so far.
Yeah, with like a
And
little like over the
Yeah.
smocker, the apron dress over
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's what it should look like, from this far away too. Like just keep it this far away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever close up on anybody, for fear of ruining that.
But you would basically have the 2 layers. You would have the underdress, and that is basically a long tunic, and then you would have the apron over it.
Yeah,
That would be held up by the jewelry.
yeah, for like certain occasions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good example. Bad example. Good example. Bad example. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
So that armor is essentially a mix of leather and chainmail,
Yup.
which wouldn't happen,
Not that we
I
know
would
of.
imagine. Not that we know of.
Yeah, there's no surviving examples of leather armor, so we have no idea what it would look like if they did have it, which we can't prove they did or not. It makes sense they would, but we have nothing to base that on. So like,
It would have been cheaper than chainmail.
oh yeah, sure, absolutely, but still, it wouldn't be like whatever this is.
It's pieces of chainmail and leather.
Also, just look at our sword right now. You can see where the pommel is screwed in place. There's the hole there in the very top. That's where they screw the pommel. It's a very un-Viking mentality to have.
Those messengers.
Yeah, so for a warrior in a Viking age, even a female warrior in this case, they would want to die in the battlefield because otherwise they don't make it to Valhalla. So to do that, she's basically giving that up. I think it was shortly after Ragnar's death that she vowed to see him in Valhalla.
Oh, I can't remember. But she's always been like a warrior. I mean, that's the whole point of her fictitious character, regardless. But like, I just mean that like passivity, like being passive in your life, was like a very weak thing, and so, like it was a very like non-Viking Scandinavian mentality. Like they use it as an insult, like white Christ. When they first adopted Christ into like their pantheon kind of thing, when they first like experimented with or like involved him in their society, like to call somebody white meant that they were passive, it meant that they were weak and like basically useless. So it was like an insult, like white Christ was an insult. So she's basically becoming white Lagertha the White, like, to use as, like, a derogatory term, like, to be insulting. It's very un-Viking. That's my only point.
It really seems it.
Especially for, like, a famed warrior to just suddenly, like, give up the sword and just, like, never fight again. Like, that was kind of expected of you.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Oh, there's that dress again.
I like her, whoever she is.
It was when they asked me what kind of king I was expected to be.
I don't like the
I thought I had answered that.
ruffled sleeves.
I thought I
Arm
knew.
warmers.
Yeah.
When I spoke to the people, I spoke from the heart.
I can't even focus on what he's saying. I'm just staring at his terrible outfit.
I thought that was my answer.
I am sure it was once.
Those messengers.
There's no lace in the Viking Age.
They spoke to something deeper.
Like, her sleeves aren't even
They didn't
attached.
know it, and King Harold secretly commissioned them. I know that, but still.
You are confusing things. Whether or not you go to the aid of King Harold will not define what you are as a king.
Yeah.
They didn't have that.
Perhaps your difference is from your father.
And I am a king.
Of a town. He's a mayor.
Mayor Bjorn.
Mayor Bjorn. Good job. You made it.
I have decided to treat your arrival here as a sign, an omen.
Cool.
Is it though?
Thoughts?
Well, just quickly, that last scene, he conquered and hung his shield on the gates of the most reputable and possibly developed capital of the most, like, expansive civilization at the time, like the most sophisticated of the time, and
he wants to go back to Connecticut.
he wants to, like, his big entrepreneurial, like, conquest now is going to be to take over Mayor Bjorn's job and find this random trading district in Norway. What's the motivate? What is the purpose of that? Why?
I don't know.
It makes no sense. It's so, like, storytelling wise, it's so forced. Historically, it makes no sense.
And also, he's asking for help from Ivar, who had lost his throne there.
Yeah. So
who's saying that he's not going to betray him?
That whole thing just makes no
This
sense.
is going to be a very convoluted season. Okay, so on a scale of 0 to 10, what would you give this in historical accuracy?
I like how you included the 0 in the scale. I think that says more than any answer I could give would. I'm going to give it a 2. Because technically, historically speaking, Vikings did exist. As did the Rus.
And they were both included in it.
And they had both of those things in the show. Now, whether or not you could say what they portrayed as Vikings were Vikings, that is a different story. But they had Vikings and Rus Vikings in the show. So I'll give it a 2. 1 for each. And we'll leave it there.
Cool.
Yep.
I did notice a couple of, other accuracies in terms of that first scene with the men being outlawed.
Right. Yeah. There was so much that happened. I forgot that was the thing.
Yeah.
I'll still give it a 2.
I would maybe give it a 3. Solid 3. Just for the little things that they did still manage to include in there. That hot air balloon just loses all the points though.
That took so much out of it. I can't stress enough that Vikings did not have hot air balloons.
That was the worst.
What is the point of it? If you also want to be horrified by what TV does to history and society, continue to watch me get outraged.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to see more of these videos, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you can get notifications when we come out with new videos. We're hoping to make this a regular thing. Not just with Vikings, but with other shows and movies that we possibly had already seen or not seen before. And we'll catch you next time. Skål!
Skål!